Welcome back to another episode of All Dad Jazz. Today, I basically just want to highlight my previous weekend as well as the upcoming weekend. Fall as well as September is literally just around the corner, and that's actually an exciting month for my family and I. And I'll talk about it right now. So the first thing I actually want to bring up is my weekend highlights. So last Saturday, as I mentioned in the previous episode, the baseball season did start, the Seoul Baseball League, that is. I'm on a brand new team. Our team is called BOC, which is short for Beer O'Clock. And we actually won our very first game. We won the opener. And it was actually really exciting. There's 15 players to a team, 14 showed up. And as you can imagine, that's a lot of players to kind of, cycle through the batting lineup. I got to play right field for a couple innings. I prefer that. I like playing the outfield rather than the infield. Basically, kind of just get a tan. I like hanging out there. It was actually a really good game. It was a close one. I really wish I could say that I played a big part in contributing to the success of our first win, but dear God, was I awful. I was a shitty player last Saturday. I haven't played in a year. I mean, I don't want to have excuses, but, I haven't played in over a year, haven't been to the batting cages, haven't practiced swinging at all, and it's like all the baseball fundamentals just flew out the window. And so I struck out every single time I was at the plate. 3 strikeouts in one game. I haven't played that horribly since my rookie season 3 years ago, so I'm hoping over the next couple of games I'm at least stepping it up a bit. I'm making contact. I'm getting a couple hits, maybe a couple RBIs. That'd be great. But dear Lord, I really played like a rookie on Saturday. All our games are streamed on YouTube. And if you ever do want to kind of look them up, it's called SBL videos. They're actually really fun to kind of revisit. So I kind of just watch the videos of my swings or why I'm striking out so often or just things like that. I kind of just use as my own little coaching practice video. But yeah, after the game ended, which was around noon, I had taken the train in because I didn't want to. I typically drive to the field, but in this case, I knew that I did want to have a couple drinks. One of my good friends in the league, he likes to bring rum and Coke and kind of just share with everybody. And one year that I did that, I kind of overindulged in it, and I ended up driving home drunk, which was the stupidest thing I could have ever done. Luckily, I didn't get caught, but anything could have happened. So that was a big lesson learned. So I made sure that this time I took the train in. And it wasn't too bad. The field is kind of out of my way from where I live. It's about a 2-hour train ride. I actually left my house that morning at 6:30 a.m. I took a bus into Seoul, and then I took 2 trains to finally get to the field around 8 a.m. But by the time I left, it was just after 12:30, and I got home by 2 o'clock. And I was just really thankful for Soyoung and my father-in-law for watching the kids for me. So the minute I got home, I showered, I cleaned up the place, and then I went to go to my in-laws' place to actually buy some bottles of soju for my in-laws as a personal thank you. And then I took the kids out. While Soyoung got to shower and relax at home, I got to take them to the playground. We played for a little bit. We stopped at some local convenience store, got them some drinks and snacks. And it was actually really nice. It was a good bonding time for them. Now, this season, I am a part-time player. There are 9 games this season, so I'm only going to look to play between 6 to 7 games. So that way Soyoung isn't going to be stuck with I shouldn't say stuck, but that way Soyoung doesn't have the responsibility of watching 2 kids on her own every single Saturday for the next 2 months. So that was just our Saturday. As you can imagine, we were completely exhausted by that day. I think I passed out maybe around 8:30, 9 p.m. that night. I couldn't even keep my eyes open. On Sunday, one of my good friends from work, a coworker, she decided to come over to spend time with us. She came over to kind of hang out. We went out for lunch. We talked about a couple of things that's actually been going on between her and the school. And I gotta say, I've worked at many different hagwons in the past before, but none have ever treated a teacher of theirs so for lack of better words, unprofessionally. It was just really bad, the way they cut ties with my coworker. So I feel it would be a good time to actually bring up another subject in today's episode, and that subject would simply be shady schools. Like how to know when to avoid them, what are the signs to look for, because it's actually really important. Because in the long run, you don't want to have it come back biting you in the ass for a poor decision you made. Because everything I'm about to tell you right now going forward, it's pretty upsetting what they did to one of our teachers. And I feel really bad for her. And I can completely understand where she's coming from. Because again, when you know that you're being disrespected the way that they were towards her, and kind of not meeting demands or speaking ill of her, then you can only take so much. And I did notice that she wasn't at work the day before, so that's why I kind of reached out because I thought she was sick. And then when she informed me that she quit, I just completely blew my mind. And so that's why we invited her over to kind of just talk. And I mean, she had good reasons. She is going to go home after a couple years of being away, and I do wish her the best of luck, and I hope that everything goes well for her. Um, and I just hope that whatever she decides to do with the school, whether it's pursue, litigation or just report them to the proper authorities, that way this doesn't happen to any other teacher that they try to, you know, screw over or think that they're just trying to do whatever they want because they can get away with it, I guess, depending on your visa. But hopefully that's not the case. What happened after that, I'm sad to say, was we actually had a school meeting yesterday on Monday, and basically the vice director sat all the teachers down, and I kid you not, just read a letter from quote unquote upper management, which is the owner and the director of the school, basically bashing our old coworker. They just the wording, the language, again, very unprofessional. I feel like there's a lot of just slander in it, a lot of defamation on her behalf. It could have been short and simple and sweet, saying, oh, this person no longer works here. We wish her the best of luck. She's going home soon. We're sorry to announce this. But it was literally like a 10-minute letter of basically everything that went down, every conversation that they had, every single word that was said, the result of it, all the actions, and the entire time we just felt super, as teachers, super uncomfortable knowing like, okay, this is our friend. Why do you have to say this to us? This is clearly none of our business. Because I know if I was in her shoes and people were talking so ill of me behind my back without me knowing, that would just be awful. And you would think that they would have the courtesy and the decency to kind of just cut ties in a professional manner rather than go down this rabbit hole. But I am happy to say that my friend is fighting this to the best of my knowledge, and I do wish that she walks away the clear winner. And I just gotta say, I know it's different. Living, working abroad, completely different, especially like work culture. Like in the States, I don't know anybody who's listening to this have ever lived or worked abroad. But I knew that right away in Korea, it is slightly different. Again, they have the hierarchy here, so the title is more. It's kind of everything, right? Really, if somebody is your manager, they are kind of like your superior. You really just automatically have to show respect to them. They expect it. Unlike back home, where it's more like a deserved kind of thing. Like just because you're my manager doesn't mean I have to respect you necessarily. But if the feeling's mutual, we respect one another, then you will earn my respect. But clearly, our managers, our owner, had no respect for our ex-coworker, and that's why she's in the conundrum that she's in, unfortunately. But yeah, so I always say, know your worth. You can only take so much, because everything that she was telling me, I know I would probably just react the same way. If I knew that I was in office with my manager, and next they're screaming and yelling at me, like I'm not a child. I would not take that at all. Like, if anything, I would probably just blew the place up. I mean, not literally, but you know, I have quite a temper. I'm known to have that, and I probably just would have just went off, um, stormed out of there, and probably just said, say lovey, I'm done with it. Never probably would have returned. But that's just me again. So know your worth, know how much you can take, and just walk away when things just don't seem worth it in the end. But moving on to some really good news. So let me explain why the month of September is actually a really great month for all of us. Well, for starters, fall is my favorite season. Here in Korea, summers are pretty brutal. They are hot, they are humid, and it usually extends well into maybe like mid-September. Not as far as like October. It's cooler by then. Luckily, we've been getting a lot of rain the past couple of days, so we've kind of been in the upper 70s, which is really nice from the 90-degree weather. But the reason why September is a great month is because it's my wife's birthday and it's our anniversary. Oh, but this weekend was actually really exciting is that not only will we be celebrating So Young's birthday, we're also going to be heading into Seoul because my cousin, who's been living here for a few years now, probably the same amount as me, around 7, 8 years, he's actually a part-time artist. So he's actually having an art show here in Itaewon in the Yongsan area. If anybody is in Korea and listening to this, if you are familiar with Itaewon, where the mosque is, there's going to be an art exhibit in the whole month of September. But the grand opening will be this Saturday on September 2nd. If you want to stop by, say hello, meet the artists themselves. It's going to be held at the place is called Roast Stash. Think of like mustache, but like coffee roast, Roast Stash. And again, the whole month of September. So yeah, so we're definitely going to be checking that out on Saturday because I do have another baseball game. It's a 12 o'clock game, and because it's closer to Seoul, I figure after the game I'll just head back on the train, head into Seoul, shower somewhere, I don't know where, but shower, get ready, and then head out for the evening. And for my wife's birthday, everything's kind of still up in the air. Nothing's really, concrete yet. We have, I think we have dinner plans definitely for our wedding anniversary. I don't know about her birthday. She might want to go somewhere on the weekend, but that's completely up to her. So yeah, so not a whole lot to talk about this week. I just did kind of want to just keep it short, just kind of get everybody caught up what my family and I are up to uh, this past week. Now that I think about it, I actually did think of something that just popped up at the top of my head. I mean, speaking of shady hagwons or academies, the very first school I worked at, the one I gave 2 years of my time to, like they did us pretty dirty. All the foreign teachers. I actually remember the first time I discovered that I didn't have medical insurance, even though I was paying it for like the course of a year, because I went to a doctor to get a consultation for LASIK surgery, only to find out that I did not have insurance at all whatsoever. So that was like a red flag there. And what I didn't know a couple years after that was that when we finished, not when we were close to finishing up the school year, there was tax season. Unlike April in the States, I think it's beginning of the year, like January or February, you get to file. Well, it turned out that my school was actually withholding all the foreign teachers' taxes, like they didn't pay it back to us. So that was red flag number two, is where all the other schools would actually help us file our taxes and deposit them into our accounts for us. So I thought, wow, like I really stepped into like a shady school. And since then, I've been kind of wary about other schools. I think since I've been here in these last 10 years, I've only worked at maybe three shady schools now. My third one being the current school that I'm at. Like, I just cannot believe. Again, I can't fathom this. I can't wrap my head around how they could just be so disrespectful to one of their like oldest, like the longest, excuse me, not oldest, but the longest teacher that they hired. She's been there since the very beginning, I think like 2, 3 years ago. And for them to just kind of just kick her out and say, all right, you got to leave the country by this date, yada, yada, yada. It's one, not only is it illegal, but two, it's just really sad to kind of have to end on that note. I'd just be curious to know if anybody was ever in the same boat. Maybe in the future episode I can talk about applying to Korea, what to kind of avoid when looking for certain jobs. I think that'd be a great episode to kind of talk about for those that are interested in coming on over. So in the meantime, I'll just kind of end the podcast here. As always, I do thank you for listening. I just want to let you know that I have updated my link tree. I've updated all my links each and every single week. So it'll give you access to both my Facebook, my Instagram, and my YouTube channel, where I upload all my episodes that you're listening to on your favorite podcast platform. And as always, like and subscribe to my links, as well as give a rating if you like what you're listening to. It helps me in the long run. It helps extend my audience. I can't thank you enough each and every week for being here and joining me. Thank you. Have a good night.